Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the one and only Josh Crash Davis. We're here to talk about the NBA Finals Game 3 to be played Wednesday, June the 8th. And absent today from our panel, she'll be back for the next one, is Deb Lutz. So Deb sends her best. For our members, by the way, she will be posting lineups tomorrow night. She just had something come up, and so I had to quickly put my green Celtics shirt on here to represent Deb's side of the table, and I know Crash has some great stuff on the Warriors. So I don't know, Crash, can we handle this without Deb is the question, or is everybody going to see Deb's not on and just shut it off?
Yeah, I hope not. I hope we can hold it down for her. So, yeah, it was a great, game for the Warriors in Game 2. They did what we thought they would. They bounced back. They really took advantage of the mistakes that Boston made early, and I think that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they just were determined. We knew, we all predicted they'd win the game, but not quite as convincingly as they did. But
right,
they were just on a mission. You can't go down 2-0. I mean, it's that simple. So, especially going on the road. So it was expected, I think, but not quite as dominant, really, as we thought it would be. But an outstanding win for them. And we knew this series was going to be a thriller, and it's, this could go all the distance. There's no question about it, but definitely a change of venue now going to Boston and TD Garden, the Boston Garden, whatever you want to call it. Those fans are loud there, man. Last game, they were so loud you could barely hear the announcers, but it's going to be an intense game and a great atmosphere. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be fun. I've enjoyed this series, and I think it's going to go 6-7 for sure.
It sure is looking like it. Well, let's do the game set real quick. Vegas's line has Boston favored by 3.5, so pretty consistent with what it's been, and the over/under at 212.5. So very similar. It's Vegas pretty much is saying, hey, the home team's gonna win by 3 or whatever. And we're going to set a low 2-10s type of, line for the over/under, and that's the consistency of it. Now, as far as any injuries go, all that's listed today, and again, it's the day before, so we want to get this out there early. We will be updating these injuries, in our Discord throughout. We'll certainly know where everything stands prior to tip for the Wednesday tip. Andre Iguodala, questionable. We know he missed the last game. Very good chance he could be back. And then the two questionables for Boston are Marcus Smart and Robert Williams, both playing dinged up for sure. I'm expecting them to play as of now, but we'll see what that report goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, with Iguodala, how much he's going to play. I know he played in Game 1 quite a bit, but with Gary Payton II getting 25 minutes, in Game 2, it's hard for me to imagine. I mean, there's only so many minutes that you can spread around there. So
right.
I don't really see Iguodala having a game like he did in Game 1 until maybe when they go back to Golden State, he might get more minutes. But in Boston, I don't know if he's going to.
Yeah, we'll see if they suit him up or not. Certainly, it's going to be big news on the Smart and Williams side, but, I think they're in. I mean,
unless the game gets out of hand, if Boston gets a big lead or something, I could see Iguodala getting some minutes. But outside of that, I think he's going to be pretty restricted.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's all hands on deck. Game 3 of the finals. It's that simple. If you can get out there, you're going to drag yourself out there. You got to do it. Interesting stuff, though. Interesting prices. Everybody obviously clamoring towards Tatum and Curry, being the two main guys. It's really showing that those are the stars of this series. Certainly Jaylen Brown has stepped up. Yeah. And then, you're just getting a lot of contributions from a lot of people. But let's take a look at the box score a bit for the two games. I'll start out with Boston. As expected, we thought Tatum would bounce back, and he did. 8 for 19 from the field, 6 threes, chipped in 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 28 total points, real points. The problem was he was minus 36.
Yeah.
That is Jason Tatum's worst ever plus minus.
Wow.
So minus 36, that's got to sting a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think, the fact that he had a decent DFS score and certainly the leader of that team, though, I think he's going to come out with fire in his belly at home. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. And of course, he went over his whatever that prop is that Deb kept playing for his
turnovers. Yeah, he had 4.
I think pretty early too. Man, he was really struggling there early with the turnovers, and the Boston was in general. I think they had 7 in the first quarter or something like that. So
yeah, they just I don't know if it was because Golden State played with phenomenal urgency because they had to win that game. They just rattled them a little bit, and they just threw too many balls away. You cannot have that many turnovers. 18 turnovers they had. That's in a championship game with two teams that don't play super fast, that play half court and play good D. It's unusual that you see those type of turnovers. And it was just, and I'll tell you what, when Golden State caught fire, it was ridiculous. I mean, they made everything.
I know.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
How about this stat though? If I'd have told you before the game that Al Horford, Robert Williams, and Marcus Smart, 3 of the 5 starters for the Boston Celtics, would combine for a total of 3 for 11 from the field. That's rough.
That is really rough.
How are you going to win a game with 3 of your starters performing at that terrible of a level?
That explains why Boston struggled so much to stay in that game with that many guys struggling. That's tough. And that's
it just can't happen.
That's kind of what I was thinking. In our last podcast, I talked about it a little bit, how I thought Jason Tatum was going to have a strong game, but the other people around him were going to struggle, and that's really what happened. The rest of the guys didn't carry their weight like they did in game 1. So
no, it was awful. And the Robert Williams shenanigans, only 14 minutes in this game. And I will let you know, he had 14 minutes and Looney only had 21. So I said in that preview podcast, and I still believe it, and I'm still going to roster that way, that longer the series goes, the more it's going to play small. You're going to see Horford at center. You're going to see Draymond at center, and those guys are going to get played off the floor. And Williams is just not right at all. I mean, they keep saying they're only going to play him 15 to 20 minutes, and they've been doing that. But he took 1 shot and had 2 rebounds. I mean, what's the point at this point of even rolling him out there? He's not getting it done. You had, they tried to play some center with Grant Williams at almost 21 minutes and Daniel Tice at 14 and a half. But it just, you wonder how much they're going to have Williams in there. I'm still from the school of thought with Boston. Like I said earlier, I think they have shown so much confidence in Derek White. And I see more and more of just that small lineup with Tatum, Horford, Brown, Smart, and White, or Grant Williams sliding in there a little bit. I think that's a real trend we have to watch. And Derek White got up 13 shots. That's third on the team by a mile. I mean, it was 19 for Tatum, 17 for Brown, which both of those guys should get 20 shots up to begin with. And then 13. Nobody else had anything. Marcus Smart, 1 for 6. You know who was 4th on the team in field goal attempts? Take a guess.
Let me think.
Too long. You buzzed out. Peyton Pritchard was 7.
That's what I was going to say. Was Peyton?
No, too late. It's Jeopardy. You have to buzz in before the horn sounds.
I should have just said it. Yeah. Pritchard.
2 for 7. So there, it's not really Tatum and Brown. It's those are going to be the guys that are just automatic. But Boston has got to get something from the Horford, both Williams, Smart, and White, at least that group is going to have to find a way to contribute because Golden State's too deep. They're too tough of a team for somebody not to step up. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Al Horford had 2 horrible games to start this series. A lot of it's the interior defense of Golden State. I get it. Yeah. I just think he bounces back, man. He's a pro. He's a pro's pro. He's been around all-star teams, all NBA teams, throughout the years, different things that he's accomplished. I think at home, knowing now that they have to regain control, keep home court now that they stole a game in Golden State, I think Horford's going to bounce back.
He did good in game 1, though. He did.
He did okay?
Yeah, he had 6 threes in that game, remember?
Oh, that's right. He did.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm thinking
it was just that he was so bad in game 2 that you would have thought, that it was longer.
Right. He regressed terribly, which yeah. I think he bounces back though. I mean, he's had some on and off games in the last series. There were a few games that he did the same thing. He had a couple of awful games in that series. Right. The only time he was consistent was against your Bucks, where he just was on every game. But I think he's the biggest plus for me. Only 27.5 minutes. He'll be fresher. In that time frame, he still grabbed 8 rebounds and had a block and an assist. And he's going to do a little bit of everything. And with trying to really focus on Tatum and Brown, he's probably the next guy up that's going to get the three ball, because Smart has not shot the ball well at all.
Yeah. I actually like Marcus Smart a little bit in this game, but I could see just because Smart was so bad in game 2.
Terrible. Yeah.
I think he'll bounce back in game 3. But I do like Horford, as you mentioned, had such a poor game in game 2. I think he'll bounce back in a big way. He's still going to get those open threes. I mean, you can't guard everyone, and he just tends to be the guy that people like to leave open. So
0 3-point attempts in that last game, though. That's how weird it was.
Yeah, it was
after making 6 in the first game, like you said,
right,
and having a few games of 6 or 7 or 8, in earlier playoff games, he doesn't even get an attempt.
Yeah, and it wasn't really so much that they were taking, making an adjustment or something like that to stop him. He was getting the same, open looks. He just wasn't shooting. So
he wasn't shooting, and they were turning it over before they got it to him.
Yeah, they couldn't even
that's the other thing.
They turned it over. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that settles back in a little bit. And, I've said it all along, and I'm still going to continue to say it. Derek White is a serious part of this team.
Yeah.
And he's playing crunch time and closeout minutes, over 30 minutes again. Is that enough to make you a believer in White?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he's been their third best player, most consistent of late. So
hard to believe,
Going back to the Bucks series, like you said, Horford was really good in that series. But since then, I would say that White's been their third best player. So yeah,
I think he's a key part of what's going on. Really not interested in any of the deep bench guys again. I mean, it's hard because of the salary. So, the White and the Grant Williams, have to be at least in play.
Yeah.
And it's tempting on Robert Williams, but man, I would not trust him as far as I could throw him.
I agree with Williams for sure.
Yeah.
Both Williams, I'm not too high on, honestly.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Give us a little feel for the breakdown on Golden State from this last game. 21 shots for Curry again, 14 for Poole. But of course, I'll let you comment on it. But man, Clay cannot hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah, I mean, he once again was held below, I don't even remember what his final numbers were.
He was 4 for 19 from the field, 1 for 8 for a wonderful 12.5% from 3.
Yeah.
And no ancillaries, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. That's
right.
it.
So normally I would say this would be a big bounce back game for Clay with those numbers, but it hasn't happened against Boston.
No.
They've held him in check for, I think it's 6 straight games now below 30 fantasy points. So
well, he's off his game. It wasn't even in the series before this. His shot looks rushed. It looks flat.
Yeah.
It looks like he's pressing. It's that simple.
Game 6, he just has that thing with game 6, but
maybe, but he really looks off.
Yeah, he really does. So it'd be very hard to go back to him. Curry's just been phenomenal. He's been the best player in this series.
Ridiculous.
He had 50 fantasy points in game 2 after 56 in game 1, even though he played 6 less minutes. 29 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He once again had 3 steals. His defense has been very solid too.
You see him he actually shut down some people.
Yeah.
I mean, he's D'ing it up.
He is.
Who
really
knew that he could do that? As a coach, I always say, now, wait a minute. Why don't you do that all the time?
Yeah, he's really stepping it up. So he's my favorite play, obviously, from Golden State. Probably second favorite on the slate. I think I like Tatum a little bit more than him, but it's right there, 1 and 2. Looney, I mean, it's hard to go away from him. I know we've talked about the matchup, and it's going to
only
be
21 minutes.
Yeah, only 21 minutes, but he just keeps putting up solid numbers. 31.8 DraftKings points. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and 3 steals. So he's getting it done. Gary Payton II saw 25 minutes, so he would be a nice value play. He's 7,000 on Fanduel, 4,500 in the captain, 3,000 in flex on DraftKings, and only $10 on Yahoo. So those would be the main plays for me on Golden State. Kind of like what we said in the last game, I lean more towards the Boston side as far as number of plays, in my lineup. But I think that Peyton makes it kind of all work with his value. Both Peyton and Peyton Pritchard make it work as far as value. And then, I'm not really sold on Wiggins or Thompson in this matchup. I know Wiggins had a strong game in game 1, but I think Boston made some adjustments in game 2 that kind of slowed him down quite a bit. So it's Curry and some value, maybe a Looney or a Draymond for me from Golden State, and mostly Boston in this game.
Yeah, it's so funny. Draymond, again, 34, almost 35 minutes. So he had more minutes played than anybody on the team. And only 3 shot attempts. That's what cracks me up about him, man.
Right.
He just does not shoot the ball much.
I know.
But he still, he still can get there, but he really has to smash the other numbers. 5 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and a block. That's not bad, but not really what you need to get you over the top. But I don't know. Wiggins, I agree with you. They held him in check a little bit more, but he still got double-digit shots, up 4 for 12. Mm-hmm. So he's on that cusp of danger, and his price is okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going for the Looney thing. I know first of all, 6 for 6, and they were all dunks on defensive breakdowns by Boston, where he literally caught the ball. Nobody's around him. He took a dribble, which he didn't need to take because he was so wide open, and got in a position and just made a little uncontested layup. So, I mean, I don't think he goes 100% from the field again.
Right.
I don't trust the minutes when Boston goes smaller. I think they run him off the court. And yes, he's been producing, but his price isn't dirt cheap anymore either.
And that's what I was going to say is it's honestly, to me, just a lot better play to go to Derek White. He's very similar priced. I think he's actually a little bit cheaper than Looney. And I mean, I think you're going to get more from him. So I would just
think so.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think Gary Payton, if he gets those mid-20s minutes, is just fine. He's going to pay his number. And it seems like, he first game back in there, he's getting it going. And I think he'll get, we got dog issues here. All right, guys, take it easy. Must be the mailman time.
Running late today.
Yeah, they're super late today. It's Amazon. Okay. We have an Amazon sighting. Chance, cut it out. Jeez. So yeah, I mean, Peyton, I think, seems just like almost an unavoidable value.
Yeah. I mean, you got 15 DraftKings points, but that's really all you need at 3,000 in the flex. I mean,
he lets you get to the other guys, right?
Yeah. So that's going to be 5x value. I'll take that all day.
Clay, obviously a lot of people steer from him, or though some will stick with him, because he will eventually break out. I mean,
Right.
he's Clay Thompson, for goodness sakes, but I just don't see it at this moment. He's just not shooting with confidence. He is getting the attempts, so
Yeah,
they're
he is
trying to
getting
get him going.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's a hard button because he's not cheap either.
Right.
So the only guy I can't figure out, I want to get your opinion on, is I've been on and off the fence with Jordan Poole, and I just
Mm,
feel like he's still going to get squeezed on minutes. I mean, he got
yeah.
22 and a half, and he's going to get shots up when he's in there. He did get 14 shots up. He hit that
Right.
half court buzzer beater, but I don't know, 22 and a half minutes for him at his price. He is the best when he's playing like 35 minutes and getting up 20 shots.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of player he is. I don't know if, with Peyton playing more and they're trying to slide in Porter and be elites and rotate some guys. I
Hmm.
just feel like he's the odd man out. Am I wrong?
No, I agree. I was just thinking about, Poole myself, if I was going to make him one of my plays or not. And I don't think I am. I think that Boston's going to come out strong in this game. We've seen in the playoffs that they bounce back every time they lose, and they usually win pretty convincingly. So I wouldn't even be surprised if that happened. But I don't like the rotation for Poole. Clay's getting a lot of those minutes now, and you can make the argument he doesn't deserve it the way he's been playing, and Poole should be getting more minutes. But as long as the rotation stays the way it has been, it's just gonna be really hard to pay up that much for Jordan Poole, unless he starts performing at a consistent basis, more like he did earlier in the season.
I'll tell you, they put him in there. If he hits a couple shots and looks hot, though, you got
Yeah,
to think he's got to squeeze some of those minutes away from Clay. I
yeah,
mean, just common sense would tell you that. But it makes both of them worrisome to me because
right.
I don't know really where those minutes are going to land for sure.
Yeah, I just think that Kerr's more comfortable with Clay because he's been there before.
Yeah.
He has the experience factor, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But a lot of the Poole stuff in that last game seemed like luck to me. So
Yeah, a little
shooting
bit
in
for
half
sure.
court, and then he shot that other one where he just kind of pulled up, and it looked like he just threw it up there. So
Yeah, he made some ridiculous shots.
yeah,
He's from Stephen Curry. That's his.
yeah,
Those are the Curry shots.
those are
There's no
definitely the
doubt.
Curry shots. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
Curry even laughed because he was like, "Wait a minute, man, that's my shot."
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he said that him and Poole practice those shots, and they count them if they're in the game. So he said that Poole's ahead of him now. So
Oh,
you have to
wow.
catch up. So don't be surprised if Curry's jacking the three up from half court in the next game.
Well, here's the thing I wanted to talk about before we close out here, and we'll pull our PrizePicks plays in there. I can't believe it, but I came coming into this, and it's only game 3, so it's not like this was a long time ago. A lot of what I felt was, okay, this is fun. We don't have Luka, we don't have, uh, these guys, Giannis and
Yeah,
Joker, where they just dominate. And so we got actually teams now. We can look at who we want to play. But all of a sudden, we're here in game 3, and it's like, if you don't have Curry and you don't have Tatum, you're dead.
yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean, it's almost like we're back to that point again where how the hell do you fade those two guys?
Yeah. I mean, Tatum, I could see maybe if you faded him, but it's really hard to fade Curry the way he's playing right now. Maybe it switches when they go to Boston. Maybe Curry will struggle a little bit. I don't see that happening, but I mean, it could. You can get a more balanced lineup, obviously, if you take Curry out. But, if he gets 50 to 60 fantasy points, you're dead. So,
And I feel the same way about Tatum. I'm sorry, man, but him playing the point
yeah,
with his hands on the ball that much, the way he can score, he rebounds like a power forward. I
right.
mean, he does it all. So, I mean, I'm back to that scenario that I didn't think I'd be in is I'm going to play Curry and Tatum, and then
Hmm.
I have to figure out the rest. And
Yeah,
it's really unsettling on DraftKings where you get penalized. You got to pay the extra money for the
yeah,
captain. You can make it fly, on the other two on Fanduel and Yahoo, but it's still not easy.
right.
So, the question is everybody going to have dupe lineups? Is everybody going to have Tatum and Curry and then probably the White and Peyton, those guys that are cheaper. I think you're going to see a lot of that. So if you want to get contrarian, the bottom line is probably going to be you're going to have to fade one of those two big dogs and hope they have a bad game. But you're also could be dead in the water. Like, I faded Curry game 1. He had 6 threes before I sat down. I wasn't even in my living room sitting down. I was okay. Let's watch something else because I'm dead. So I mean, those two guys can't kill you quick. So
and Tatum already had. Yeah, and Tatum's been having these bad games every now and then, and he already had one in this series. So I think that bodes well for him to be, consistent the rest of the way.
Yeah, he'll throw a clunker in there, and then he'll crush after that like he did this last game. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fun. This is an awesome series, I'll tell you.
It is.
It is really up for grabs. Anybody that tells you they know who's going to win this one, I think it is wide open.
I agree.
Prize picks. By the way, before we make our prize picks choices, this podcast is presented by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code Coach Talk. If it's your first deposit, they will match you dollar for dollar up to $100. If you want to join us, which is the perfect time to join us, go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up there for as little as 3 days for $10. When you sign up, you get everything we've got. All of our PGA, all of our MLB, all of our NBA, all of our NASCAR, all of our MMA, everything we provide lineups for. We provide cores and clipboards for DraftKings, complete lineups for Fanduel and Yahoo. If you're watching right now on YouTube, quick thumbs up. That really means a lot to us. Hit that subscribe button and definitely hit the alert up in the corner. We have 3 podcasts posting today, being Tuesday the 7th. We've got our PGA podcast for the RBC Canadian Open. We have our MLB podcast for a huge slate tonight after last night's debacle. And then we have, of course, this NBA pod that you're watching right now. So give us a thumbs up, some comments, any questions. We'd love to go over those with you. If you want to check us out on Twitter, we're all at DFS Coach Talk. I am at Joe Sarvati. And Mr. Crash is at JP Davis 1982, a fine year. All right, prize picks. What's your first play?
Speaking of prize picks, I just went over there and they've got their first taco of the day up. It's for baseball.
Taco Tuesday?
Yeah, it's for baseball, and it's 1.5 first inning runs allowed by the Guardians and the Rangers.
Interesting. Okay.
So they raised it instead of lowering it or whatever, like they usually do. So
that doesn't sound like much of a taco deal to me.
Well, I guess the deal is to take the under on it.
I guess
you're saying it doesn't score less than 2 runs. But anyway, so my first play, I'm going right back to it. Klay Thompson under 28 fantasy score. I've talked about it quite a bit, and 6 straight games now under 30 fantasy points. So I think they'll hold him in check once again. Haven't really seen much reason to think otherwise. So until I do, I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. And again, I think Poole's going to start sneaking a couple of minutes if he keeps shooting at that percentage.
Yeah.
I'm going Al Horford, like I mentioned. I see major bounce back, and his over on real points is only 10.5. So, I mean, he was getting that against the Bucks, not to keep rubbing it in, but he was getting that in a quarter.
Right.
So I'll take 10.5 over real points for Al Horford.
Okay. And did we have Deb's PrizePicks plays? Did you get those? Or
I do not. So we can share those on Twitter for those that aren't members. So we'll do that tomorrow. So we'll remind Colin to put Deb's PrizePicks plays up on Twitter, and then she'll obviously have some extra ones for you during our posting of the lineups in Discord for our members.
Okay. I'm going to go for my second play. I'm going to go with Boston over 1.5 3-pointers made in the first 6 minutes. They usually come out of these games, especially after they lose. They just come out red hot, and I think that they'll get over that number in the first 6 minutes of the game.
I like that play. That makes perfect sense. They will come out firing, I think. Good. That's a good play. I like Jaylen Brown I mean, I know he started off great. You know, he got cold in part of the game, but he's that guy can play. And I think he takes a forward move. And where I would fade Tatum somewhere, I would play Brown for sure. I'm going to take over fantasy score 34.5. I think that's a very reasonable number.
Yeah.
You know, he has been getting more rebounds and assists than he had prior. He had been more scoring dependent throughout the season, but he has definitely ramped up the other ancillary aspects of his game in the playoffs. So I think 34.5 over Brown is a good play.
Yeah, I like that, Coach. I'm going to go with Derek White over 17.5 PRA. He went over that number in both of the first two games, and I think that he'll play just as well, if not better, back in the Garden. He's been very good at the Garden this year, so I think that he'll go over that number pretty easily.
I like it. I have him projected at 31 minutes, and if he gets over 30, you got to think 20 PRA is very, very doable.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Robert Williams under 1.5 blocks. Again, I think he's hurt. I think he plays small amount of minutes, 15 maybe. And I just don't, if he grabs one block, fine. I just don't think he's going to be in there enough, scrapping enough to get more than one block. And really, it's not like he's going against a scoring center. I mean, he's generally only going to shoot it when he's standing there alone to, lay it in or dunk it.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming Williams stays under that blocks total.
Yep. I like it. So we'll have to have a baseball play or maybe a taco play or something in there with your Boston plays, because you've got 3 Boston plays and I've got 2 out of my 3. So.
Oh no! Well, Deb's gonna have to save the day and
with Golden State plays.
Yeah. I didn't even realize I made 3 Celtic plays there. Sorry about that, but
I know
mix and match or use them with yours, whatever you need to do. But those are the ones that stood out to me.
Yeah, you can use that Klay Thompson play under 28. I think that's a pretty good play. So
that is. I mean, based on the last 6 games, that's for sure.
Right.
So. All right, outstanding, man. Deb, we missed you today. She's here in spirit. I'm sure she'll definitely be part of posting everything tomorrow and be very active in our Discord. And certainly we expect her back for Game 4 in Boston. So that is it, my friend. Anything else to finish up?
Yeah, we got to do our prediction.
Oh, the game prediction. Okay, and the score. I forgot that.
We all picked Golden State in Game 2, so we all got that right.
Yes, we did. None of us had that big of a spread, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I had 8 was the biggest spread.
That's pretty good. Yeah. All right, what do you have here so I can copy off you by 1?
Let's see. Boston 106, Golden State 94.
Okay. I am going to say Boston 110, Golden State 109 in overtime.
Whoa.
How's that?
That would be an exciting game for sure. Hopefully that happens. That would be exciting.
You can't win if you don't play. So I need to find an overtime prop bet.
I would rather see a 110-109 Golden State win in overtime to crush their hearts a little bit.
Hey, watch it.
I'm a little bitter about the Celtics losing. So
we have lots of members that are Celtics fans, and we love both sides of the bet here.
Yeah, I know.
So it should be a fun one. Yeah. All right. We will see what happens from there. I really appreciate you jumping in here. I'm Mr. Celtics. I couldn't play both sides without Deb. So I had to be Mr. Celtic here, and we'll see how it goes. But it should be a great game. A lot of people think Boston will go back and smack them back, but I'm telling you, Golden State's got that experience.
Yeah.
Boston's got to be a little shook by getting smacked that bad. And I think it makes for a really, really tight game.
Yeah, they got to win the next 4, I think, for your prediction, right?
Yes. Well, I don't know if that I'm feeling very shaky about that.
Yeah.
But I still think Golden State can win the series. I think they try to steal one of these 2 in Boston. I just don't. And I think it could go either way on both of them, and probably goes back to Golden State at 2-2, in my opinion.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. I mean, that's the trend with Boston is they win and then they just completely suffer or whatever the next game. So
it hasn't been super consistent in that sense, but I think we're in for a barn burner. We'll see how it rolls. All right, Crash. Good. Enjoy the rest of your day, and certainly we will be back for the next one. When is Game 4? Do we know?
I think it's Friday. I'm wanting to say. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's double check that, because if it's Friday, we'll do the next podcast. Well, no, it's probably Saturday.
Thursday. Next one on Thursday.
It is?
No, I'm saying we would do the next podcast.
Yeah. If it is.
Yeah, it's Friday. It's Friday.
Okay. So we'll actually do that one tomorrow.
No, Thursday. Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. That's right. Okay. Yeah. We're doing them one day ahead of time. I'm sorry. Too many podcasts in my brain.
Too many podcasts for your brain to handle. Yeah.
So, Deb, if you're listening, Thursday's our podcast. They're going to be clamoring. They want Deb back if they stayed and watching this long. It's like,
we're still watching.
DM Deb, hey, those two dummies, just give us what you got. So we'll be back Thursday for the Friday
game 4. Yeah.
All right. Have a great one, everybody. Enjoy the game and enjoy your week. We'll be back again very soon when we look to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks.